Jai Shri Ram, welcome all of you all for our weekly Wednesday Ramayan class. So we are reading the Valmiki Ramayan, BAALKAND. We are in the Sarg number 6. We have completed up to verse number 12. So we'll just take a fast recap. Does anyone remember what we discussed last session? We discussed very important points.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu, please say.
लास्ट वीक ये वन ऑफ द टॉपिक ये था कि त्रेता युग में जो लोग थे वो बहुत famous थे,
Hmm.
डोनेशन करके यानी खाना वगैरह ग्रहण करते थे।
Yes, yes.
और वहाँ पे इतना समृद्धि था कि कोई चोरी वगैरह नहीं होता था, और वो सब
Hmm.
अ, और लेविश लाइफ जीते थे, पर सेंस एंजॉयमेंट के लिए नहीं।
Hmm.
वो मेन फोकस नहीं था।
Yes. So life was centering around dharma. So Ram Rajya means dharma hona chahiye. If you want to be happy, you should have dharma in your life. We'll discuss something more in detail. Let's continue. Who can read today? Who will read? Verse number 13.
Prabhuji, I'll read.
Please, Mataji.
The Brahmanas were always engaged in their duties and studies of the Shastras. They were principled and accepted charity with controlled senses. They gave knowledge to others.
This is
Explanation.
This is the actual work of a Brahmana. Brahmana means first and foremost pathan, pathan. खुद को शास्त्र सीखना है. One has to understand the shastra himself, study the shastra, and then teach the shastra. Second, he has to live also as per the Vedic way of life. And the most important principle is accepting charity. See, if a Brahmana accepts charity, he is doing a big obligation. People think the opposite way. I have given charity, I have done a big thing. No, in the form of charity, you have given your bad karmas. So your bad karmas are transferred from you to another person through your charity. It may be clothes, it may be food, it can be anything. It may be money also. Anything given in charity means you have transferred a small ansh of your karmas. Small. It's not a big transfer, but yes, he is accepting it. He is also accepting it. The reason why he's accepting is that is his duty. Someone has to accept this, right? It's like if everyone is afraid of bullets, who will go to the border to fight? Someone has to take this, the heroic task of going to the border and fighting with the enemies. Just because someone has to do it. You cannot say, नहीं मुझे डर लगता है, बंदूक से डर लगता है, गोली से डर लगता है. Then who will protect our country? Similarly, just imagine someone becomes a doctor, and in the first patient, when he sees him, bleeding, blood coming out, he falls unconscious. And when he gains conscious, there people ask him, why you went unconscious? No, when I see blood, I faint. Then what is the use of such a doctor? Doctor has to see that the wound is healed rather than fainting. So similarly, the Brahmanas are also qualified to take the charity. In fact, Brahmanas only are qualified to take the charity and no one else. Now you will say, Prabhuji, why so special about Brahmanas? Two things. First and foremost, they are accepting your karmas through your charity. Second, they are also having the capability to burn that karma. This is a very important science which we have to understand. If you see, what is this third line, second line saying? They were principled and accepted charity with controlled senses, and they gave all knowledge to others. Okay, that's their part of their duty. But they were principled and accepted charity with Control census. Now, what does this control census mean? They were not accepting charity for using it for wrong activities. They will either use it in the service of God or in their day-to-day activities. And those activities are also spiritual. ज्यादा से ज्यादा एक मटका लेके आएगा उस पैसे से, और उस मटके का जल he will use for गंगा जल भरेगा, उसमें गंगा जल से प्रक्षालन करेगा, कुछ भी, मतलब it will be spiritual, it will never be material, or rather sense gratification. Secondly, by the amount of tapasya, by the amount of chanting, by the amount of all the Vedic rituals a Brahmana does, he gets the capability to burn off all those karmic reactions which are coming along with charity. That is why Shastra says two things. Charity means it should be only to a Brahmana, not a person promoted to a Brahmana. It should be a Brahmana by birth. And secondly, we say, a qualified Brahmana. What does this mean? A word mean qualified Brahmana? A Brahmana who can burn off all the karmas which has come with that money. And how does he burn it off? By his sadhana and by his chanting. So nowadays we find none of these are existing fully. But in any case, one should never stop the activity of charity. One should never give up. Citing that, the person is not that qualified. He is as qualified as you are also qualified in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, even your qualifications don't stand high. You are also in the lowest mental platform. It's very important. Please read the explanation, Mataji.
From this, we understand that when Brahmanas accepted charity, in return, they performed a higher charity by giving the knowledge of the scriptures. Only Brahmanas can accept charity because they study Shastra, recite mantras, and observe other strict vows. Hence, they are qualified to neutralize the karmas that come from accepting charity from others.
So, mind you, accepting charity is not an easy task. And those who give charity and feel proud about it, I have done this job of giving the charity, or I have done a big obligation, please come out of that mindset. It has been the greatness of the Brahmana to accept the charity from you, or rather accept those karmas from you. Otherwise, nobody in this world will be ready to accept karmas. And a non-Brahmana, if he accepts, he has to bear the brunt of it. So when it gives to a Brahmana who is following, he's reciting the Gayatri mantra, he's following the vows and penances and all that, then yes, he can neutralize. But I've seen many cases where Brahmanas also suffer very badly because of the karmic reactions behind the charity they have accepted. I'll tell you a small incident. It's a true incident which happened in Vrindavan. And there are many bhandaras. बहुत सारे भंडारा होते हैं. I don't know whether you are aware of it. So many big rich people, especially, they have bhandaras, and that too mainly generally in the occasion of someone's death in the house. So on the 10th day or 12th day, 13th day, they have a big bhandara, big lavish feast. One sadhu went there and had the food. And with the food, they give a charity of 50 rupees, 100 rupees to every Brahmana. Hundreds of Brahmanas come. Sadhus come, rather, not Brahmanas, sadhus come. And this sadhu, that night, every day night, he used to dream about Radha, Krishna and all that. That day in his dream, he could see one dead body. Whole night he could not sleep. He was disturbed. Whenever he used to catch sleep, he would see a dead body. Then next day morning, he went to his guru and he asked him, why am I getting this dream? I used to daily dream about Radha, Krishna and other nice, beautiful dream of God. But now I'm getting this dirty dream. Believe it or not, his guru told him, this is the effect of the money which has been spent by the person on his father's death occasion, by which the food he has eaten. And that is the effect of it. That is the effect of that charity which he has accepted. And he made him vomit. The guru made that student of his vomit the food. He had to do 2 days vrata and chant special mantras, and then he could become normal. This is a small true example which I'm telling you. And though it's not there nowadays, but earlier it used to be a customary where people, especially from the north, rich people, when their father or someone is about to die, generally they're attached to money. So they keep a bundle of money on the chest. And as soon as the person dies, they would take the money and from that money do the entire charity, like Bhandara and whatever, Brahmanas, Dan, Punya, and all that. So, point what I'm trying to make is this is time and again, this reminds us only one thing. Charity means cutting off your dirty karmas, bad karmas, but Acharya say, don't stick on cutting your karmas. Rather, don't do bad karmas. Don't think by charity you can get rid of your bad karmas, because bad karmas means huge volume, and by charity you can only reduce by 1-2%. But that 1-2% is also quite heavy on the person who is accepting it, because he has to accept 1-2% of hundreds and hundreds of people. So that becomes a lot on him. But rather you refrain from doing bad activities, rather than saying that no, I'll do some bad activities and I think by giving this money I'll get out of my karmic reactions. No, you can't run away from that. Get 1 or 2% discount, that's all. So it's like getting a 1% discount on an iPhone purchase. The rest of the money you have to shell out from your pocket. It's like that. Okay, please continue the next verse, Mataji.
There were no atheists, liars, or less educated persons in Ayodhya. None was jealous, disabled, or unscholarly in that city.
See, the qualities which make a good city, qualities which make the city truly prosperous and happy. Again, coming back to the same point. The city, there was no atheist. What does this mean, an atheist? One who does not believe God. He is not deriding the existence of God. He doesn't believe the supremacy of God. An atheist is a very, very tragic personality. So say, why Prabhuji, why tragic personality? Yes, he's a very tragic personality. The reason is, he knows that there is God, but he's not ready to accept it. So it's like, बेचारा बुरा फंसा हुआ आदमी, ना ही वो आगे बढ़ सकते हैं, ना ही वो पीछे जा सकते हैं. That is why whenever in a place, in a country where there are a lot of atheists, there can never be prosperity and peace. Peace, happiness, prosperity all go hand in hand, and all that will come only when there is dharma. So when there is no atheist, no liar. There are no liars in Singh. Liars means, Prabhuji, thoda bahut to banta hai, haan, theek hai. No, Shastra officially says 4 lies are justified. One, when someone is getting married, a girl or a boy is getting married, थोड़ा बहुत झूठ बोल के अगर शादी बस रहा है, घर बस रहा है, झूठ बोल लो चलेगा, it is accepted. Second, narma vivahi. That is, when you're romantic mood with your wife, कई बार बोल देते ना, अरे तुम चांद से भी खूबसूरत हो, भले वो काली कलोटी. बट वो आदमी क्या बोलता है पत्नी को, तुम चांद से भी खूबसूरत हो. What does this mean? He is telling a lie, but this lie is only to enhance the romantic mood. So that is also allowed. As per Shastra, it is allowed. Okay. Third, prana sankate. Whenever your life is in danger, your life is in danger, a cow's life is in danger, Brahmana's life is in danger, you can tell a lie. And then last is vritti arthe. Vritti arthe means business में. कई बार दुकान वाला बोलता है ना, मैं आपसे कुछ नहीं कमा रहा हूँ, बस आपको तो मैं नुकसान करके दे रहा हूँ, झूठ बोल रहा है पर चलता है, दैट इज जस्टिफाइड, दैट इज अलाउड, उसको गलत पाप नहीं माना जाएगा. बट बाकी का टाइम पे जो भी झूठ बोलते हो आप, वो नहीं चले. अगर वो पेमेंट के लिए झूठ बोल रहा है तो नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल. सो द पॉइंट इज lying should not be a part of, because that is adharma. Atheist means adharma. Less educated person. Here education doesn't refer to no, IIMs and I am no your IITians and all that. No, it is not referring to that. It is referring to education in Shastra, education about God, knowledge about God. Everyone in those days, especially you see our elders, earlier generations, people were so systematic, especially in following the various pujas, vratas, festivals, to be so systematic. Here we give a reason for not following it. There they had every reason to follow it. And the reason why, they were knowledge. Yes, there will be something subtly good happening with us, so we should do it. Sometimes goodness is not in gross level. स्थूल होना जरूरी नहीं, सूक्ष्म लेवल से भी हो सकता है, क्योंकि आपका सुकृति जो है, what you call as pious credits, that is in subtle form and not in gross. So there were no less educated people. None was jealous. This I can say to an extent. When I was a child, there was no much of material progress, so there was no question of jealousy. We all had one common standard brand of compass box. We had Camlin boxes, compass box. So we didn't have much options to choose from. We all had black and white TV. No problem. No slim TV, no extra large TV, nothing of that sort. So life was simple. And that is why jealousy was not there. Now we see that jealousy is more because everyone is in a race, in a material race. There people used to, in those days, I still remember, people used to acquire things only if they needed it. But nowadays, people acquire things just because others are having it. Whether you need it or not is seldom seen. And that is the reason why they were happier and more progress. None were disabled or unscholarly in the city. They were all highly educated and very nice and happy. Yes, next verse, Mataji.
There was no one in Ayodhya who did not know the 6 auxiliaries of Vedas. There was none who was not performing the daily rituals or not giving donations. Never was there anyone miserable or with a disturbed mind or in a diseased state.
You see all this. You can continue with the next verse also. I'll discuss.
No man or woman in Ayodhya was devoid of wealth or beauty, nor without affection towards the king.
See, these are all earlier what was being talked, how they were virtuous, righteous, they were following dharma. These are the outputs of following dharma. Dhan, khubsurati, beauty, money, and all this are outputs of just being adherent to dharma. You just adhere to dharma, you just adhere to the righteousness, religious principles, or what the Vedas say. Rest things will flow of its own. That's the best part. Everyone knew the 6 auxiliaries of the Vedas. There was none who was not performing the daily rituals and not giving donations. Never was there anyone miserable or with a disturbed mind or in a diseased state. All this is a virtue it's a byproduct of following dharma. Man or a woman in Ayodhya was no man or woman in Ayodhya was devoid of wealth or beauty, nor without affection towards the king. and the king has to be righteous. That's more important. Please continue, Mataji.
Out of the four varnas, that is Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, the first, that is the Brahmanas, worshipped the deities and guests. They were grateful and generous, and at the same time, they were brave and powerful. All the people of Ayodhya were virtuous, truthful, and had a long life. Everyone lived in that best city along with their wives, sons, and grandsons. The Kshatriyas were guided by the Brahmanas, and the Vaishyas were protected by the Kshatriyas. The Shudras or the working class were engaged in their dharma of serving the other three classes.
The beautiful explanation given in the Bhagavatam. And Acharyas give a very nice understanding. Now, how are these four classes, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, first made? Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvaranam Maya Shishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasya. I have made this four varnas. Chaturvarana, four. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Chaturvaranam Maya Shishtam. I have created. So, this is not something created by a group of people or by the society. Lord is saying, I myself have created. And what is the purpose of it? Chaturvarana Maya Shishtam. Guna Karma. On what basis was it made? On the basis of your guna. Whether you are in Satoguna, whether in Rajoguna, or whether you are in Tamoguna. Guna Karma Vibhagasya. Karma means what activities you have done earlier. What is your inclination of doing? Some people are inclined to be violent. They go for a fight very fast. The Lord says, oh, you want to fight? Okay, I'll make you a Kshatriya. You want to fight well, na? Someone is always interested in money. Kaisa ikka, do ka, char ka, chhe kaisa banao. It's always they are in that mood. The Lord says, okay, you become a Vaishya. Some says, no, I want to read the scriptures. I am always interested in having satsang, listening to satsang, getting more knowledge, spiritual knowledge, following the vows and staying very strict. Okay, your karmas, your inclination is more Brahmanical. Okay, you become a Brahmin. And there are some who want to work hard and serve the other. So they are Kshatriyas. Generally, the Britishers and those who want to divide the society or, divide and rule policy people, they always say, oh, the Brahmanas did a lot of atrocities. And, Bhagavatam says, Brahmanas came from the head of God. Kshatriyas came from the arms of God. Vaishyas came from the thighs and the stomach, belly of the Lord. And the Shudras came from the leg. So you are calling Shudras low. This is very bad. This is against, hypocritism and this and that. First and foremost, the question I would like to ask. In the Lord, the form of the Lord, which part of the body you think is very important?
Feet.
Forget about God, even in your body.
Feet.
Feet. हम सब भगवान के चरण धूल चाहते हैं, सर के बाल चाहते हैं, हाथों का मार चाहते हैं. We are all interested in the lotus feet of the Lord. So most important part क्या हुआ? The feet. Secondly, Lord, you are considering as yourself. Lord is Satchit Anand. You are not Satchit Anand. You are made of 5 gross materials: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Whereas Lord is made of Satchit Anand. So any part of the body is equally Satchit Anand. And third, most important, these are symbolical. What is the symbolical? As I said, Brahmana, the head, means what? Who want to think, read the Shastra, study, too much of knowledge, where the load is more on the head, not much on the hands. You don't see Brahmanas with 6-pack and moving around here and there. You'll see them more reading the Shastra and all. Same when you come to a Kshatriya, it says it comes from the hands of the Lord. What does this mean? Not literally coming out of this. For him, Lord has showered on him the power of strength in the hand. so that he can fight and protect the Lord has given his brain, a part of his brain, or some more intelligence to the Brahmana, so that he can read the Shastra, which is very complicated. Then it comes to your Vaishyas. The Lord has given him, okay, I'll give you the intelligence to make more money, and utna khana pacha sako, so take it from my abdomen. And then from the thighs, they have to do a lot of work. From the legs, they have to do a lot of work. So please take this knowledge, please take this power from my legs. So what is this? A perfectly balanced society means the Varnashram system. Now here, this shloka gives a clear balance. The Kshatriyas were guided by the Brahmanas. So Brahmanas were the brain, controlling factors. Which is good, which is bad, what is to be done, what is not to be done, ideas, planning, administration, everything was planned by the Brahmanas. And they were busy planning. Who will protect them? So the Kshatriyas were guided, and in return, the Kshatriyas were protecting the Brahmanas and Vaishyas. And of course, the Shudras. So, who are giving the brain ideas? All the intelligence, the Brahmanas used to give. The Kshatriyas, they used to be guided to protect virtuously. मतलब ध्यान से धर्म के साथ कैसे राज्य करना है, how to control this kingdom, that was taught by the Brahmanas to the Kshatriyas. And then Kshatriyas used to protect. तो ब्राह्मणास तो चैरिटी मिल जाता था, उसकी रोजी रोटी हो जाती थी. Kshatriya said, हमारा रोजी रोटी का क्या? I am protecting you all, so you all pay tax to me. So all the other three Varnas used to pay tax to the Kshatriyas. Vaishyas used to do business. So unko protection kaun deta tha? Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijya used to be the job of Vaishyas. So Vaishyas ko protection again Kshatriyas de deta tha. And last but not the least, the Shudras. We need someone to execute the work. One gives the brain, one is looking out. You can't expect the army to protect the border at the same time come to the country and work. There is someone has to sit in the border all over, Air Force, Navy, name it, everything, and they have to protect. There are some industrialists who run business and who will run the factories. That is the workers. So which class can you say is higher or lower? None. All are equally important and equally respected. And equally they have a role to play. So that is why this shloka is explaining why the four Varnas are required. The Kshatriyas were guided by the Brahmanas. The Vaishyas were protected by the Kshatriyas. The Shudras, or the working class, were engaged in their dharma of serving the other three classes. So generally the the bad elements, they split the society. They create all this type of nonsense by saying no, very low. तुम low treat करता है, किसी को high treat करता है. There is nothing as like high and low. If in a house the father goes to earn the money, the mother has to cook. So you can say no, that is inferior. Cooking is inferior. Earning money is higher. No. Since she is cooking and feeding him, he is able to go and earn the money. Since the mother is cooking and taking care of the house and the children are going to able to go to school and study, and one day they will become rich enough to, big enough to go to office. So everything is balanced. Our Varnashram system is perfect balance and equal rights to everyone. A man cannot do a puja without his wife. No Vedic pujas. Even Ramchandraji had to have a golden Sita to do his puja. What to talk about you and me? That is the level of equality given in our society. Please continue.
The city of Ayodhya was well protected by Dashrath, the king in the Ikshvaku dynasty, as it was protected in the earlier days by the wise Manu, the king of mankind. The warriors were like fire, skillful, intolerant to enemies, and fully educated in the art of warfare. This city resembled the cave of a lion.
So you
The
can
city,
see the description is basically about how King Dashratha was so brave and powerful, and at the same time how good the warriors were. They were like fire, were skillful, intolerance towards enemies. They were never tolerant. They were intolerant towards the enemy and fully educated in the art of warfare. So the whole city was like cave of a lion. No one dares to go into a cave of a lion. Similarly, nobody is to dare to think about entering or attacking Ayodhya. Please continue.
the city was full of excellent horses born in the region of Kambhoja, Bahil, uh, Bhalika, and Vanayuj. These horses were like Indra's horses. The elephants in the city were very powerful, proud, and intoxicated like the ones born in the Vindhya hills, and looked like mountains, as some were born in the Himalayas. They were the breeds from Airavat, Mahapadma, Anjana, and Vamana. The city of Ayodhya was always filled with constantly intoxicated, powerful elephants like Bhadra, Mandra, Mriga, Bhadra Mandra, Bhadra Mriga, and Mriga Mandra. These elephants were as large as mountains.
These are all the various breeds of elephants, horses, and all that is being mentioned here. Is much in detail. We all only know, oh, there was an elephant, there was a horse, all that. But this is a detailed bifurcation on the various subcategories of these elephants. Please continue.
The city of Ayodhya was 2 yojanas wide. It was true to its name and was spreading its shining glory even outside. In that city, King Dasharatha was staying and ruling the world. In that Ayodhya, the splendid King Dasharatha, the destroyer of enemies, ruled like the moon among stars. That auspicious city of Ayodhya, which was true to its name, with strong gates and locks, and with a variety of beautiful houses and thousands of men, was ruled by King Dasharath, who was equal to Indra. The main purpose of sage Valmiki giving such a vivid and detailed description of the people of Ayodhya will be understood later. After the exile of Lord Rama and the death of King Dasharatha, when Bharat is called back to Ayodhya, a different scene is witnessed by him. This very same Ayodhya is described to have a gloomy look and all its luster gone.
It's very important why he is giving a vivid understanding that yes, we will know the difference when same King Dashratha and the Lord goes away and King Dashratha passes away. But more than that, he is also trying to guide us by showing the benefits of having dharmic people. If people are dharmic, it is very nice. The next chapter will be also talking about the qualities of the ministers of King Dashratha. Please continue, Mother.
Yes, Rory. The ministers of the Ikshvaku dynasty were great souls and virtuous in quality. They were highly efficient and dear to all. They were qualified in reading the face and giving predictions. They were always engaged in the welfare of the king and the kingdom.
So this doesn't refer to they were giving predictions in the sense they were not Jyotish, they were not astrologers, but here it refers to whether the people of the country under whom they were ruling or controlling, whether they were righteous or not, whether they were following the instructions correctly or not, whether there was any traitor in the country or not. All this was by studying by the ministers. Please continue.
The heroic King Dasharatha had 8 glorious ministers who were pure at heart as well as in their dealings. They were always devoted to the affairs of the kingdom. The 7 ministers were Drishti, Jayanta, Vijaya, Surashtra, Rashtravardhana, Akopa, Dharmapala, and Sumantra, the 8th minister. The 2 best sages, Vasishtha and Vamadeva, were King Dasharath's chief priests. There were other ministers too. Suyagna, Jabali, Kashyapa, Gautama, the long-lived Markandeya, and then Katyayana were the scholarly Brahmanas. These Brahma Rishis always performed sacrifices as they were ancestral priests for King Dasharatha's family. Those ministers were all experts in all branches of knowledge. They refrained from wrong deeds and were skillful with their senses fully controlled. Those prosperous great souls were well versed in Shastras, super courageous, renowned, and affectionate. They were splendorous, true to their words, and successful. They had a heart of forgiveness and were full of smiles while speaking.
The most important word which is we need to understand a little is they refrained from wrong deeds and were skillful with their senses fully controlled. Now, what does this refer again and again? Earlier also it has come many times. Please remember, when a person is having his senses under control, he can do his work righteously. If you see, who are the people who break the Vedic rules? Are those who cannot control their senses. And then they land up doing these four activities: meditating, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling. And these are the four things which are restrained or not allowed as per the Shastra. And why do people do this sinful act? Everyone knows. Whoever is doing this activity, he knows that this activity is wrong or bad, or it is not justified to do it. But still, why does he do? Because his senses are not his control. The minute he sees alcohol, or his mind tells him, oh, it's time to have alcohol, he forgets. He keeps at bay his rules, regulations, his dharma, everything at bay. And that is how they fall down. Another thing is, people's requirement of money is basic. What you need is roti, kapda, makan, right? 2 times nice, healthy meal, wholesome meal, some decent clothing, and finally, a shelter. Whereas people with uncontrolled senses, for them, the money becomes less because they want to drink daily, they want to gamble daily, they want to have illicit sex daily. No, they want to have meat, they want to eat meat, they want to drink, they want to do merriment. But for all this, you need more money than what you get. Then how does that money come? It comes through unrighteous or wrong means. कहते हैं ना, गलत तरीके से पैसा कमा रहा है. How does that happen? It is happening because he has increased his requirements which are not justified, which are not required. उसकी जरूरत नहीं है. And धर्म के विरुद्ध भी, which is against the Shastra. So the most important point for being happy, be happy, to be controlled, is controlling your senses. If one is not able to control his senses, he may be skilled in doing many things, but in the end, he will not be happy and will have to suffer in this material world, and there is no scope for him to surrender to God and get out of the cycle of birth. See, the purpose of a human life is to get out of the cycle of birth and death, not to run your senses loose. But people generally come to this habit of leaving their senses, running the senses loose. Life hai jab tak jiyo, live life full size, king size. No, live life in a way you can achieve God in that lifetime. Because in no other species can you think about God or think about achieving God. It is only and only in a human life that you can think about achieving God. At that time, if you want to achieve God, let's understand there are two important aspects. One is, let's say you want to enjoy your senses. Then it's like a balance. You want to enjoy your senses, then automatically your attraction, this is the attraction towards God, it will go lighter because your sense enjoyment has increased. If you control your senses and you make them lighter, then automatically the other pan, which is the pan of devotion, will become heavy. But we try to sail on both the boats. Nee, Prabhuji, I'll try to do as much sense gratification as possible. But don't worry, I will not let that hamper my devotional life, which is not possible. Two opposites cannot. You can either eat an ice cream or some hot stuff or hot glass of milk. You can't have an ice cream and a hot glass of milk together. It's impossible. Two opposite things, and it's only going to spoil your life, spoil your health. So one has to understand why this is important. Not just living happily in this world, that is just one part of it. The other part is at the time of your death, you can remember Lord and get out of the cycle of death. Yes, Madhuri, please take the next verse.
The ministers never spoke out of anger or out of lust for money, nor would they speak untruthful words. There was nothing unknown to them in their country or other countries. All that was happening, or which had happened, or that which was yet to happen, was known to them through their network of spies.
So they were basically highly intelligent and expert in their work. This is the job of a good minister. Job of good ministers means what? Unnecessarily, they will never get angry. And out of lust for money, they will not fall under any prey to lust for money. And lust for money, when it happens, I just explained 2 minutes. When they have uncontrolled senses, बोलते हैं गलत कार्य करने के लिए पैसे बहुत लगते हैं. जनरली सेड, नरक में जाना बहुत महंगा करेगा. हाँ, नरक में जाना है तो बहुत सारा खूब सारा दारू पियो, खूब सारा नॉनवेज खाओ, ऑल आर कॉस्टली थिंग्स. खूब सारा जुआ खेलो, काफी पैसे गवाना पड़ेगा उसमें. एंड देन व्यभिचार करना पड़ेगा, वो भी एक गलत चीज है, उसमें भी खर्चे होते हैं. So all the wrong activities which lead you to hell are costly. And that's for that reason you have to fall under the lust of money. You have to accept bribes. You have to do all that because you are involved in all these dirty wrong things. Whereas the same person, if he is not involved in all these dirty wrong things, then for him, he doesn't need this extra money. He is happy, satisfied. Double benefit. एक कोई कंपनी का ऐड है, I forgot. जीवन के साथ भी, जीवन के बाद भी. Some insurance company का ऐड है. Dharma is also like this. जीवन के साथ भी, जीवन के बाद भी. As long as you are alive, you are following your dharmic rules, no problem, you are going to be happy. And even after death, you will be happy because you will get out of the cycle of birth and death. Yes, Mataji, please continue.
Those ministers were capable in their dealings, and their friendship was tested out by the king, who would award punishment even to their children according to time and situation.
What does this mean? If the king's son was bad or the minister's son was bad, no problem. They would be punished. None would guard, neither the king nor the ministers would guard their children just because they were their children. Nowadays we see many places children do wrong activities. Since we are big celebrities, they try to cover it up, but that doesn't happen. In Ayodhya, it used to not happen. The reason was they were righteous. If you are wrong, you need to be punished, and punishment is good. It is to rectify. Yes, mother.
The ministers would always be engaged in the collection of wealth for the treasury and for maintaining the armies. They would not harm even an unfriendly person as long as that person had not done any offense.
When I generally hear this word, na, bina kuch galti kiye, the authorities are troubling you. Why? They want some money. Let us see the difference. In those days, especially in the time of King Dasharatha's rule, no minister was corrupt. All ministers were they were very friendly. They were busy in collecting the wealth for the treasury and for maintaining the army. That was the main purpose of collecting the wealth. And last but not the least, they would never harm even an unfriendly person. Just because he is not friendly, they used to not trouble him. Or rather, a person who has not done any offense, जिसने कोई गलत कार्य नहीं किया है, उसको दंडित नहीं करता. And nowadays we see those who are not done any crime, they are the most troubled people. They are troubled for nothing. And those who do big crimes, they just escape the law very easily. This is the difference between Kali Yuga and Treta. Okay. So with this, I would like to close today's session. We'll continue after we come back from our Diwali vacation, and we'll start back.